Welcome to Money Muscle Mindset, the podcast designed to motivate and educate you on your journey to financial and fitness success and to develop the mentality needed to achieve your goals. I'm Zay Molina, and in this episode, we're going to talk about 4 ways to develop a better work ethic. Okay, and I think we all understand that your work ethic determines your results. You're either going to work hard and get what you want, or you're not going to work hard and you're probably not going to get what you want, right? So the idea of today's episode is to talk about how can we actually develop a stronger work ethic, right? Because it's easy to procrastinate. It's easy to push things off. It's easy to get lazy, right? And all of us, we want that motivation to push ourselves to do better, but that motivation isn't there, right? So how can we develop a stronger work ethic to get done the things that need to get done? Right. So that's what we're going to talk about, 4 different ways to kind of help us develop that. So let's dive in. Starting off with number 1, guys, we want to build non-negotiable habits. Okay. So what does that mean? Well, guys, we want to develop actions that are just come naturally to us, right? When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you do? Probably go to the bathroom, right? Start brushing your teeth, getting ready for the day, maybe shower right away, but you're doing something that just becomes a habit, right? You're doing it over and over every single day. You got to get that stuff done. You want to do the same stuff when it comes to your finances, when it comes to your fitness journey, right? After work, you may not want to be going to the gym, right? But what do you got to do? Hey, this is the time I have to go to the gym. I get out at 5 p.m. I'm going to the gym by 5:30 p.m., right? I got to be there, right? You got to convince yourself that this is a priority, right? This is something that's going to help you develop your fitness goals, right? Maybe you want to lose weight. Maybe you want to gain muscle, right? You understand that you have to get in the gym, right? So you got to push yourself that, hey, after work, this is the only time I can go. I know I have to go, right? So you have to convince yourself that this is a priority. I got to get in there. Same thing when it comes to your business, right? Maybe your email marketing, right? You've got to create all these emails to start sending out to your list, right? But it's not the most fun thing, right? It's not something you want to do and you want to spend your time on, right? But you understand that you have to get it done, right? Create a habit, right? Every single day when you come home from work between 6 and 7 p.m., just for example, right? You're sitting there and say, hey, I'm working on these emails. So I'm getting them out there. I'm scheduling them, whatever it may be, right? Get that done. Develop that habit. Make it a priority because every single day that you do that, you're getting closer to your goals, right? You're marketing, you're doing more. That's going to help your business in the long run. This can also go with your budget and your savings, right? Instead of as soon as getting your paycheck and wanting to go spend money on stuff, right? Why don't you pay yourself first? Develop that habit, right? It's actually from the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, where he talks about you want to save 10% of everything that you earn, right? Pay yourself first. As soon as you get paid, send 10% to your savings or wherever you want to keep your money, but pay yourself first and then live off that other 90%, right? That's going to help you develop a better savings habit, right? That's going to help you develop your budget a little bit better, right? By doing stuff like that, you're now setting yourself up for success, right? And again, it's about developing those habits. It's not something that we all want to do. It's not easy, right? But we got to develop these things to help us become better. Think about successful people, right? Let's take athletes, for example, high-level athletes. One that comes to mind is Kobe Bryant. His work ethic was unbelievable, right? And so understanding that Kobe Bryant trained like no other, right? He knew that, hey, I got to get in the gym. I got to get better. That's going to push me to go out and keep winning, right? And that's exactly what he did. He'd be up at 4 a.m. going and doing his workouts, right? He'd be working harder than anybody else, right? If he missed a game-winning shot, he'd stay in the gym afterwards when everyone's left and he'd still be working on that shot, right? His work ethic was developed by habits, right? He knew that, hey, I got to get up at 4 a.m. even when I don't want to. It became a habit, right? That's just by doing it over and over. He is now working harder. He's getting better, right? Same thing when it comes to his pregame routine, right? He did the same routine over and over, right? And that's the idea, is building that habit, doing it over and over, building that consistency to help you build those non-negotiable habits. And that's the other key, non-negotiable. This is not something that, well, maybe if I feel like it today, right? Or maybe if I have the time. No, this is something that, hey, no matter what, I have to get this done. No matter what, I'm going to do this today and every single day that follows, right? I am going to do this because I know it's going to set me up for success. It's going to build my work ethic. It's kind of like brushing your teeth. We all brush our teeth 2 times a day, or at least I hope you do, right? And so we brush them in the morning, brush them at night, right? And that's the idea. It's non-negotiable because if you stop brushing your teeth, what's going to happen? Teeth are going to rot. They're going to fall out, right? So you got to brush your teeth over and over, build consistency, build those habits. And this does not have to be something that's all in all at once, right? Start small, guys. Start with the little things, right? When you wake up in the morning, right? Maybe you can't make it to the gym before work, right? Do a little home workout. Do something small, do some push-ups, do some sit-ups, right? Start getting going, getting in the habit of doing something that early in the morning, right? Maybe you're not used to doing stuff like that, right? Start small, build your way up, right? As you do it over and over, it becomes easier. Guess what? You push yourself to go a little bit harder. Instead of just doing push-ups and sit-ups at home, now you wake up 15 minutes earlier. Now you have time to go to the gym for a little bit, right? Whatever it may be, right? Do the little things that are going to help you find success and build the habits that you need to build that work ethic to help you achieve those goals. So that was number 1, building non-negotiable habits. Okay. Number 2 is mastering the boring work. Now, mastering something isn't about excitement or talent or anything like that, guys. Mastering something is really about repetition and building consistency, right? By doing something over and over again, you're going to get better at it, right? It just simply comes down to it, right? It's the principle of practice, right? By practicing something, doing it over and over again, you're going to continue to get better. You're going to continue to develop. Most people give up or quit on their dreams because they can't handle the boring, repetitive nature of success, right? By simply putting in the work, doing it over and over again, doing the things that you know you need to do, guys, that's going to help you find success, right? Even when you don't want to, right? Let's go back to basketball, for example, right? Just by dribbling the ball, right? If you guys have ever played basketball, you know you got to dribble, right? To get better at dribbling the basketball, you have to do what? Practice doing it over and over again, right? I remember in high school, I used to be in my garage dribbling back and forth, right? Doing crossovers between the legs, around the backs, right? Doing these moves over and over and over, right? And that actually helped me develop as a ball handler, right? I could have done it more, could have even been better, right? One video that I just saw recently was of Peyton Pritchard, right? NBA point guard for the Boston Celtics, right? He's in his garage, he's working on his handles, right? Dribbling the basketball as fast as he can. He's messing up, right? He's pushing himself to get better. And I can speak from experience that doing stuff like that, it's not fun, right? Sometimes it gets boring, right? Doing the same thing over and over again, right? But you understand that these drills, these things that are pushing you, they're going to help you get better. Same thing if you're trying to build muscle in the gym, right? You may be just lifting 15-pound dumbbells, maybe 10-pound dumbbells, maybe 5-pound dumbbells, right? But you got to start somewhere. By doing that over and over, just doing simple bicep curls, right? What's happening? You're growing that muscle, but you got to start with the light weights. You got to start small, right? And as you do it over and over, this is why we do repetitions to work that muscle to fatigue, right? By doing it over and over, you're breaking down that muscle, proper nutrition, proper recovery, you're building that muscle up, and eventually you'll move up in weight. You'll move up to get stronger, right? You'll be able to develop the physique that you want, right? And just by simply doing the boring work, right? Getting in the shape that you want, guys, unfortunately, it's not fun. It's not easy, right? You got to go to the gym. You got to do the exercises, similar exercises over and over again. You got to eat similar things over and over again, right? And so it's not fun. It's not easy, but you understand that this is the stuff that works. This is why so many people don't commit to getting in the best shape of their life, right? It's boring. It's not fun. It's all this stuff that just simply pushes people away because it's not easy. But when it comes down to it, guys, what really comes down to getting in shape is two simple things: working out and eating right. That's it, right? We all understand that that's what it comes down to. Now, there's other things that we can dive into a little bit deeper and be more specific, but you understand that those are the two simplistic things, the two boring things that you must do to get in the best shape of your life. And so again, you got to convince yourself, say, hey, this is the boring stuff. I got to be able to master it, because if I can master the fundamentals and I can get good at all this little stuff, it's going to push me to grow and develop into mastering other things afterwards. Let's talk about savings, for example, again, right? If you're saving that 10%, like we talked about a little bit earlier, and you're saving 10% from your paycheck, putting into savings right away, and you see that money grow and grow and grow, and now you have an excess amount of money in your savings, well, now what can you do, right? You can take those savings, maybe start putting them in investments, start learning how to invest in Forex, crypto, or anything that you want, right? And understanding that you started with just saving, right? Saving's boring, right? Putting money away, just watching it build in that bank account, not being able to spend it, right? That's the boring stuff, right? But by doing that over and over, what happens? It grows and grows and grows. And then now you have more opportunities to do stuff with that savings and start building upon that, right? So again, mastering the boring work is going to set you up for success. And again, mastering the boring stuff is not going to be easy. It's not going to be fun. You essentially got to pair this with number one, building non-negotiable habits, right? Make the boring stuff non-negotiable. Start working on this stuff. You know you got to save, you got to go to the gym, right? Start making this stuff priorities, start working on it, doing it every single day. And again, eventually it's going to help you start pushing yourself. It's going to eventually become easy. And that's going to help you start, again, building that work ethic up. So once again, guys, focus on mastering the boring work to help you guys, again, develop a stronger work ethic. So that was number two, guys. Number three is hold yourself to higher standards. What a lot of people don't realize and or necessarily think about is that your results are a reflection of your standards. If you think to yourself, hey, I just need to do the bare minimum to be able to get out of here, make my check, all this kind of stuff, you're going to get the results that reflect that. But if you say, hey, I'm going to go above and beyond, I'm going to start working harder, I'm going to start doing this, I'm going to start doing that, your results are eventually going to show. The standards that you hold yourself to is going to push and drive your work ethic. You got to think about all the successful people that came before us, right? Thinking about like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, right? They've always tried to hold themselves to high standards. They always thought, how can I make this better? How can I do this a little bit better? How can I make this the best that I can? And they didn't settle for anything less, right? They're not holding themselves back by saying, this is good enough, right? They're not saying that we're just good enough, right? We want the best. We want to push ourselves to develop new things, new exciting things for everyone in the world, right? That's the ideas that these guys have. And that's the same idea we need to have for ourselves, right? We got to hold ourselves to high standards because that's going to push ourselves to go after our goals. If you think, hey, I want to be a millionaire, but I'm honestly okay with making $80,000 a year, $100,000 a year, well, that's going to hold you back, right? That's what you're essentially going to achieve because you're going to do a work ethic that's going to get you to that point of $100,000 a year, and you may stop after that. You may not work harder to go achieve that million, right? You got to set your standards and say, hey, I'm going to be a millionaire. I know I can. I'm going to push myself. That's what's going to help me achieve this, right? That's where you got to set your goals. We've all heard it. We got to shoot for the stars, right? We got to shoot high. We got to go for those goals, right? Hold ourselves to those higher standards, push ourselves to achieve that success. When I was in high school playing basketball, I used to have one coach that his favorite 2 words, he used to always say it at every practice, every game. He used to always say, don't settle, right? And his thing was, don't settle for a bad shot, right? Don't settle for a contested 3-pointer when you can go and get a layup. Don't settle for a step back fadeaway jumper when you can get a closer shot and a better look, right? And that was the idea. Don't settle for these bad shots when you can know that you can move the ball and get a better shot overall. And that's something that stuck with me, again, not only in basketball, but in life, right? Don't settle for things just because you feel that right now you can't have it, right? If you want to be a millionaire, but you're at a job right now, a typical 9 to 5 where you're not making a whole lot, right? Don't say, hey, this is where I'm at right now. This is probably going to be where I'm at for the rest of my life. I'll never hit that goal, right? That's settling, right? You're settling for what you have now. Your goal is to, again, hit that standard. If you want to be a millionaire, okay, maybe you're starting out here at this job, right? But what can you do differently now to achieve that goal of becoming a millionaire, right? It's going to push you to have a better work ethic to say, okay, instead of just doing the what I'm doing now at this job, I can then go after a side hustle. I can find new things that are going to push me to increase my income and go after that goal. Right? So what are you doing now? Are you finding a side hustle? Are you taking online courses to learn how to invest or how to do whatever, right? Are you going out trying to find a second job that's going to pay you a little bit more and start building up a savings, right? That you can then use to build other things, right? What are you doing right now that's going to push you to then achieve better income and eventually achieve that goal? And that's the idea behind a higher standard. By having those higher goals, having those bigger dreams, right? It's going to push you to say, hey, that's my goal. That's my standard. I got to get up there. How can I push myself to get to that goal? It's just like, again, Kobe Bryant, right? He wanted to be one of the best basketball players ever. So what would he do? Wake up at 4 a.m. He gets to practice before anybody else. He'd leave after everybody else, right? And he would work harder than anybody else so he can be that best player that he could be. He knew that if he just showed up to practice like all the other players, he'd be like every other player that's in the NBA. Don't get me wrong. They're great players. They're all working hard. They've all gotten to that point, but he wanted to be the best among the best, right? That was his idea. So he kept working harder than every single one of them so he could be one of the best players that we've ever seen in the game. It again all comes down to, who do you want to be? Where do you hold yourself in terms of standards, right? And it shouldn't be external standards, right? It shouldn't be your parents or your boss or your coaches that are dictating where you should be at, right? It's got to come from within. Because if you are saying, hey, I know that I can reach this level, this is my standard, right? It's going to internally motivate you to push yourself to get to that level. If you have other people telling you, hey, you need to be here, it may be discouraging. It may kind of put you down because you're not meeting their standards. Who cares about their standards, their expectations, right? It's about you reaching the level that you know that you can be at. And that's the idea, guys. Demand more of yourselves and your work ethic is going to grow in return to help you achieve that standard. So once again, guys, that was number 3, hold yourself to higher standards. And last but not least, number 4, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And we've talked about this before in previous episodes, guys, that we got to break out of our comfort zone. Okay. If you're doing something that's comfortable and seems easy, you understand that you're probably not growing. You're not pushing yourself to a new level. So this is where you got to step out and say, hey, this is comfortable right now. This is too easy. I have to find something that's going to challenge me to get better, right? Just like we talked about the dribbling example, right? If you're in your garage and you're dribbling the ball and you're trying to get better at your handles, but you're going very slow and just barely pushing the ball, you're probably not getting better, right? That's probably too easy. But if you're sitting there working as hard as you can, going between your legs, around the back, as fast as you can, and you're losing the ball and you're messing up, guess what, guys? You're not failing. You're working hard. You're pushing yourself to new limits to where you're going to get faster and faster. And eventually you're going to get better and better at your handles. Same things when it comes to your finances, guys. If you're taking that 10% of your paycheck and you're putting towards savings, right? You may have a little bit less to work with than you normally did, because instead of putting money into savings, you're using all that money that you had and you were trying to buy new different things, right? Well, now you're kind of cutting yourself back. You're limited to the amount of money that you have to buy on different things, right? And it's kind of pushing you out of your comfort zone because now you're working with a little bit less. But what is that doing? It's helping you prioritize the things that you really need. It's helping you cut back on things that you don't. And by doing that, guys, it's saying, hey, I'm living below my means. I'm only affording what I can right now, but all that money that's going towards savings, that's going towards my future. That's going towards helping me achieve the goals that I have. And it's the same thing when you're at the gym, right? If you're at the gym, let's say it's leg day and you're doing leg extensions. Well, if you're on a very light weight, not pushing yourself, right? You're not going to feel a burn. You're not actually be working that muscle to the best of your ability. You're kind of just wasting your time. But if you change the weight to something that's going to actually challenge you and you feel a burn in your legs, well, now you know you're working that muscle, you feel the burn, and now it's pushing you to achieve the goals that you want, right? You want stronger, bigger legs, right? And so by doing that, yes, it's burning, it's uncomfortable, it's not a great feeling, right? But you understand that this is what you need to build those muscles. You need to be uncomfortable to be able to hit those goals, right? So if you're in the gym, right, push yourself to new limits, right? And I'm not saying go for the heaviest weight possible to cause injury. No, guys. But what I'm saying is challenge yourself. If you're doing a weight, let's say you're doing 15-pound dumbbells, curling them, whatever it may be, and you've been doing that for the last few weeks, and now it's getting easier and easier, go up to the 20s, go up to maybe 25s, right? Push yourself to go a little bit harder to make sure you're feeling that burn, and push yourself to stay uncomfortable so you can actually see the most growth possible. And that's the idea, guys, having that growth mindset. We've talked about it, growth mindset versus fixed mindset. You want to have a growth mindset. You want to push yourself. You want to add a resistance that's going to challenge you versus being on a fixed mindset saying, hey, I'm just going to do the same thing over and over again and just continue to stay at that level, right? That's the idea. Have that growth mindset, push yourself to be uncomfortable, and that's going to help you develop that work ethic because, again, by doing it over and over, develops habits, guys, building that discipline to help you achieve the goals that you want. So with that being said, that's what I got for you guys on today's episode. Again, 4 ways to develop a better, stronger work ethic. Again, number 1, building non-negotiable habits. Number 2, master the boring work. Number 3, hold yourself to a higher standard. And last but not least, number 4, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Okay. Again, guys, by doing these, it can help you develop that work ethic that's going to help you achieve your goals in the long run. Remember, your results reflect your work ethic, guys. So if you're working hard, you're pushing yourself, that's going to help you achieve the success that you want. So that is it for today's episode. I'm going to leave you guys as I always do. Remember, success isn't just about the money you make or the muscles you build. It's also about the mindset you develop along the way. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode of Money Muscle Mindset.